Today is a very weird day. I woke up this morning and realized on Discord that the final episode of Attack on Titan is coming out today, which is crazy because I remember when season 4 part 3 act 1 came out back in March. And I remember when it came out, I was really busy with things with work and I was doing reactions. And in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, I'll get to that eventually. By that point, I had decided that I was going to read the manga and catch up with the manga before diving into the final parts. And so there was this sense of distance. And it was like, oh, I'll get to that eventually. And now here we are. I'm going to be looking at it next week. And then the final part that you all are watching as I'm recording this, I'll be looking at 2 weeks from now. And it suddenly hit me this morning how surreal it was. I'm Romania Black, and we're on volume 32 of Attack on Titan. And it's this volume this week before I dive into the final parts of the anime. And I'm feeling really hyped. I'm not going to lie. I'm super hyped about it. I'm super excited to get back into it. I'm glad I've gone back through the manga because honestly, back in March when people were getting really hyped about season 4 part 3, I was not. I was coming off of getting caught up with season 4 part 2. I was exhausted. I was burnt out. I was like, I need a break from Attack on Titan. And so I did the junior high and then started getting into the manga. That was like a year and a half ago, actually. So it's kind of crazy. I was like, okay, I'm ready now. I feel ready now to get into it. And I'm so glad I've gone back through the manga and gotten caught back up and am refreshed with the plot and gotten to see it through the manga perspective. So next week is going to be very exciting for me. I'm really excited to get to it next week. The way my schedule works, I literally have a block set of time to do Attack on Titan each week. So next week is going to be season 4 part 3 act 1. The first part you all saw way back in March or whatever. And then the following week will be the final part. And then I'll look at the manga, volumes 33, then 34. And then I'll be doing the final recap. And at first I was like, oh, I don't think the final recap will be that long. And now I'm like, the more I thought about it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. And so I'm already starting to plan my Christmas holiday break of recording the final recap and doing all that. That's going to be insane. I didn't wear glasses today because I've had a lot of stress headaches this week from work. It's not affected my reactions any. I've managed to make myself feel better for those. But I think maybe the glasses put some tension on my head. So I was like, I'm not going to wear those today and just go without. So that's why I look a little different. But yeah, we're doing volume 32. Insanity. So I'm really excited to get to this volume. I've got some comments I want to talk about before we dive in, though. Before we dive in and see the madness that is about to unfold. Christopher Peterson and I were talking about Isayama, and that's kind of where we were talking about this story in relation to reality, because as I've watched the anime and read comments from people, and I think a lot of times, because we're about to enter the part of the story where the main characters decide we want to pursue peace, Aaron is very much against that at this point. So we need to go stop him, or at least talk to him and try to talk him down off the rumbling ledge. And I had so many anime comments where people were like, well, that's just the way the real world works. And I'm like, no, not all the time. I think the big difference is Christopher Peterson was talking about how Isayama makes characters drive themselves into a corner where the morally good decision becomes near impossible. That's the problem. In this story, the characters have driven themselves into a corner so deep that there's not really a way for the morally good decision to be feasible. But that's not the way reality works. And I think that's why Isayama tells this story, to be like, don't be like these people. Don't drive yourself into a corner where there is no morally good decision left. Don't do that. That's what he's trying to say. But I think a lot of people maybe take it too literally and they start to project the events of Attack on Titan into our own world. And that's not exactly the case, right? I think history has shown that there is a way to get out of this situation. You just gotta make sure you don't drive yourself into a place where that's not an option, right? So I'm glad he brought that up. Dossie talked about Soul Salvation and why it was so hyped up and so popular amongst manga readers with the anime. And they explained, and they had a really good post about this on Patreon, talking about how it exceeded the manga expectations in the anime, where other people felt that it fell short. And here's my thing. They were talking about how a lot of manga readers were disappointed in the anime. I was not. I was really on board with the anime at the time. And I remember some people were trying to spoil me about the manga, being like, well, the manga did it so much better. And I was like, I'm going to get to it. Stop. But I feel like this is one of those cases where I usually like watching the anime or the donghua first, and then going into the manga or the novel second if I get the opportunity to, because that way, instead of being disappointed by seeing the source material and seeing a bad adaptation, instead what happens is I see the adaptation and I usually enjoy it, and then I go back and see the manga or the source material and I'm like, oh, that's even better. So it's like I end up getting a great experience out of it rather than a disappointing one. So that's kind of what I like. I like that, and that's why I try to avoid manga spoilers in my comments, because I don't want to read those, because I'd rather enjoy the adaptation for what it is first and then go back to the source material and discover that it's even better. And I'm like, yes. So that's kind of my rationale behind it. And I think that's why I've enjoyed the manga and the anime so much together, because I've not had a disappointing experience. So, yay. But I'm glad you pointed that out, Dossie. Be Happy talks about the realization that Aaron manipulated the entire story from the kiss with the story until now. Yes, Aaron, I think that's one of the best. Whether you like Aaron or not as a character, I think that we all can agree as a collective that Aaron is a very well-written character in terms of he defies expectations, he changes the plot in terms of how usually the protagonist is kind of at the mercy of the story. The protagonist kind of like in a shonen anime or in any anime manga in general, they're usually at the mercy of the story and they're kind of a third-person observer and things happen to them and then it's like, oh, I didn't have control over this. And Aaron kind of subverts that narrative trope where he's like, no, I've been in control of the story for quite some time. You just didn't know it. And it's like, that part you can kind of squeal about. And I like that it kind of talks about, too, how we are influenced. What is destiny and fate, and what is our own free will? And that kind of gets talked about with Aaron in these last several volumes. Does Aaron have free will at this point? Or is he just a slave to the Attack Titan's power and this time loop? And if he didn't have the Attack Titan power, none of this would be possible. So, Aaron likes to think he's not a slave, but he very much is one. Armin kind of hits it on the head. He's like, no, you are a slave and your master is a cruel bastard. And it's like, ooh, yes, indeed. I also like the idea Be Happy said that Attack on Titan started September 9th of 2009, 9909, the 9 Titans, all this. And then the chapter 2,000 years from you, 2,000 years in the future, happens exactly 10 years later on September 9th of 2019. That's planned. Totally planned. Absolutely planned. Isayama was like, I have something on my bucket list. I want to get it done. That is some next level planning, and I'm all here for it. I have a feeling like a few years out, Isayama was doing storyboarding going, if I time this right, I can get this all to add up, right? Also, the idea of Ymir being a slave to her commitment with Fritz and via Stockholm Syndrome. Yeah, Ymir, I feel bad for Ymir, but she is definitely like Stockholm Syndromed, a slave to her commitment to him, her loyalty. And I wondered if Aaron doesn't want Mikasa to be the same. He trash talks Mikasa and tries to distance her from him because he doesn't want Mikasa to... I feel like Aaron in some regard maybe feels like Mikasa is Stockholm Syndromed into being with him, and he doesn't want to be like Carl Fritz or like King Fritz, not Carl, but like King Fritz. He doesn't want to be like him, so he tries to distance Mikasa from him, being like, don't be Stockholm Syndrome like Ymir was. You do your own thing. But the problem is that Aaron is not King Fritz, and Mikasa is not Ymir. And whereas Ymir may have been blindly following Fritz because of Stockholm Syndrome, that's not Mikasa. Mikasa genuinely loves him. And Aaron is not like Fritz, whereas Fritz showed no compassion, no, sympathy, no sense of love or caring towards Ymir. Aaron has shown that towards Mikasa through giving her the scarf, and we keep going back to that same storyline. So even if Aaron is trying to distance Mikasa from him because he's afraid that she's a slave to her feelings like Ymir was, that's not the case. And I really want Mikasa to tell Aaron that, so we've only got 3 more volumes to go. Hope that happens. But We'll see, right? We'll see. So the only thing I ask y'all in the comments for this volume is, please do not tell me what's going to happen in volumes 33 and 34's content. I'm going to find out very, very soon. And then we can all talk about it together. It'll be great. It'll be wonderful. I'm going to watch the anime, then I'm going to read the manga volumes. It's going to be great. We will get to have things done. So, yay. But those are my comments for this volume. Y'all, I'm super excited. I kind of have an idea of what we're going to go over in this volume, but we've had some things from Dawn of Humanity rearranged, so I'm very curious to see how things will go down. We still have Historia to touch on. We still have Aaron and the Rumbling. We still have Night of the End. I'm looking forward to Night of the End. And we still have some things to talk about. So my dogs expect me to play with them as I sit down, which is rather silly because they should know by now that I'm looking at things, but what do we do? But yeah, I'm excited, y'all. I've talked for 10 minutes. I'm not going to talk anymore. I hope y'all enjoy this reaction, but we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to dive right into volume 32 of Attack on Titan, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. I like this volume quite a bit. This volume cover, I like that it's a sunset. So it's showing like night before the end, the sunset of them all. It's either showing the night before the end, it's either showing the sunset of them all getting together, but rather it shows like the morning, the sun rising maybe, and them all getting together. I think it might be the latter there. And it's like red sky in the morning, sailor's warning. We'll see, but I like them all gathered there together. It's a fun time. Night of the End. We're going to start with it. Night of the End, Traitor, retrospective and Dawn of Humanity. Yeah, so we're going to basically end season 4 part 2 right here. So that's a fun time. The Dawn of Humanity. Oh my God. Yep. All right. So let's do this. At this point, why include Colt and Porco? Why include them? We all know that they'd be dead. Oh, we're going to get Jean's perspective. Yes. This actually makes much more sense now to have him there, right? And then prime real estate in the central region. Yeah, him on the porch with the whiskey. My wife and my kids. Wow. And of course, you would think, based on the manga, that it's Mikasa, that he's picturing a woman like Mikasa as his wife. I mean, could be peak. Could be peak. But but a wife like Mikasa there. He just likes dark-haired ladies or dark-haired individuals if you're still shipping him and Marco. So yeah, but that little baby looks nothing like him, which again goes kind of with Jean's own self-esteem issues. He doesn't want a kid that looks like him. But then, yeah, and Hanji's like, hey, Jean, it's me. Don't notice, don't hear, don't go. If you stay here, the prime real estate is yours. If you just stay. But nope, that's not Jean. He knows the bones. Marco's bones are haunting him. And here's the thing, Jean uses Marco's bones as the reason, his excuse for why he does the things he does. But the real reason is that no, Jean knows in his heart that he would never be able to live with himself if he just stayed there and did nothing. He has to do something. Which is why, again, it's so frustrating because Aaron seems to think that they're all just going to sit around and just wait on him. And it's like, no, that's not the case. Or if he didn't think they were going to sit and wait on him, then we'll talk about that when we get to the final part. But yeah. And then we're going to join forces with Marlians and the Cart Titan. We're here to stop Aaron. Killing everyone would be a mistake. And I like Mikasa doesn't immediately question whether Hanji is right or not. She says, how are we going to stop him? And Hanji's like, well, we need allies. And we don't know our options till we know who we're working with. But we have to have the 9 Titans and we have to have you all to help. And Hanji's like, the chain of command's gone. Like, it's just like Flock's in charge. So the chain of command is gone. And then Mikasa says, I'll do it. I don't want to let Aaron slaughter anyone else. Even if he's doing this to protect us, I want to stop him. Yeah, because Mika says like, I know now Aaron's doing this to help us, but it's not right. It goes back to when she confronted him on Marley at Libero and was like, do you realize what you're doing? And I think Mika says come to the conclusion of no, he's doing something for us, and that's great and all, but it's not right, and I'm not supporting it. And so Aaron needs to be confronted about that. And then John says, what do we do after? So if Aaron can maintain the power of the founder, he only has 4 years left to live. What will happen to the island afterwards? Stopping Aaron means destroying this island. That's the thing. And Hanji's like, well, Marley assumes if they initiate a surprise attack, the Romanian will activate. I don't see how they can lay a hand on this place, at least for a while. If we don't completely destroy the island, we'll never know when they'll destroy the world. That's what they'll say. And like John is making up this, like trying to counter her, being like, well, what about this? And Hanji says, well, you may be right, but maybe we can carve out a grace period before the island's destroyed. And John's like, but we couldn't, the last time we tried to do this, nothing ended up happening. That's why Aaron decided to do this in the first place. And then Hanji says, genocide is wrong. And you're not going to change my mind. And I love Hanji for that moment. Because, yeah, Jean's not wrong. Jean knows exactly why Aaron did what he did. And they all know at this point. And Jean's like, but we're all going to die regardless. And Hanji's like, I don't care. Like, it is wrong for the world to be destroyed just for us. That's not fair. And that takes a lot of guts to say that. And so I love Hanji for that. Just saying like, no, the genocide's wrong. That's all there is to it. It's very Niccolo. It's very much like Niccolo's conversation being like, you just keep trying. Even if you fail, you just keep trying. Aaron resorted to this because of my feckless idealism. I may be howling about it now, but I was one trying to run away, forget it all and just survive. But I'm still the 14th commander of the Survey Corps. And I feel all of my comrades' eyes on me. Yeah. And it's not just Hanji that was the reason why all this happened, but Hanji definitely understands their part in it. And they're like, no, I have to own up to my part of the story and contribute. As long as this island is free, that's good enough. Oh my God. And Mike and Moblet and Erwin standing there. Mm-hmm. And I love like the broken glass and everything. Do you think a single one of them would have been so selfish as to say that? We have one chance to stop the slaughter, and it's now. And then Jean seeing Marco standing there. Because, yeah, and Hanji's right. Erwin and them would never have said, oh, as long as we're okay, that's enough. They would never have said that. So Hanji's like, no, we got to do right by them. They died for us, and they died for this cause. We can't let Aaron misconstrue that. And so here we are. Yep. Oh my God. There we are. I like that Annie's already breaking out the bottle. She's like, nah, if I got to be at this family reunion, I'm going to be drinking. I love Peaks just sitting there like, hey guys, I wish I could have soup. Feed my Jean and cart shipping. Feed my horse and cart shipping with Jean and Peaks' eyes at eye level there. Feed it. But yeah, oh my God. And then all the potatoes. Potato Girl is there in spirit, right? Yep. So stop staring and eat. And then, of course, McGath's like, what changed your mind? And Hanji's like, none of us want genocide. And of course, they're all going to have to yell it out and talk it out through it. And then McGath is very interesting because, he like has this very stern exterior, but he's kind of like Levi, where it's like, how he is on the inside, but he does put up this exterior, kind of like Jean, right? And then, oh, now you want to talk about history? I love when they kind of just get at each other, and the warriors are all just sitting there like, we don't want to listen to this, honestly. And Hanji's like, can we stop, please? Our existence is uncomfortable for the general here. Yes. I like that Hanji very much plays like the advocate, the mediator in the middle to explain. And Annie's like, do you think you can kill him? Annie's like, let's just address the elephant in the room. And then Annie's like, well, if you think you're not gonna be able to kill him, then what's the point? You're gonna talk to him? You think you can say anything to change his mind? And Armin's like, we don't know. Armin looks so exhausted there. He's just like, we don't know, Annie. Come on. And then what do you think? What will you do if he refuses to stop? You don't know, because thinking of Aaron as an enemy isn't something you want to do. Yeah. And so Annie's like, are you going to end up fighting us to protect Aaron when we get there? I don't blame Annie for saying this, because Annie's basically saying, look, if you all aren't prepared to kill Aaron when we get there, if that's what it takes, and you all turn on us, and we basically led you here to find our own deaths among Aaron, I'm not going to be a part of that. Like, I don't blame Annie for being like, if you guys aren't willing to go all the way, it's wasting our time. Because what do we think is going to happen? Yeah, you've all never thought of anything more in your life as important as Aaron, right? And Mikasa definitely has a negative reaction. And then Mikasa's like, are you saying you need to kill me? Like, she, of course, gets frustrated because, you know, up until now, yeah, she's considered Aaron by far one of the most important people. I love the writers in the corner. They're like, no, stop. Ah. But Annie holds out her hand. I love that. She says, I know how you must feel, but I have one reason I want to stop Aaron. I don't want my father and Marley to be killed. If you think you can talk Aaron out of this, great. I don't have any problem with you until it comes to that. That is so huge of Annie. Like, I love Annie's like, no. Because Mikasa was ready to fight. And Annie is the one to meet partway and be like, no. I don't got an enemy to fight you right now. But I'm just letting you know, if we get there, what may happen. Annie's like, have you thought about the possibility that if we get there and Aaron's like, nope, still going to genocide, what are we going to do? And are you going to end up fighting us? And if you are, then you can probably see why we would be not on board with this. That's huge for Annie. I love that. I love it. Some of the horses are just out here on the side being like, what are we doing? Again, I feel bad the cart titan doesn't get soup. Someone give Peek a bowl, please. All right. And they're all sitting around talking about what to do. Yeah. And then Magath's like, I knew that Asmodeus were helping you. But we have to locate the founding titan. That's why we got Yelena. I love Yelena's not eating her soup. Yelena doesn't feel like she needs the soup. Mm-hmm. Why would I tell you? Mm-hmm. I'm asking why I ought to help a Marleyan bastard like you. Because we can kill you, Annie says. Yeah. And then John's like, she wants to die. Ah. She's a Marleyan bastard like the rest of us. Oh. I love that Peek like comes up beside Yelena being like, oh, hey, you're actually Marleyan. You met Zeke, you pretended to be from another nation so that you could help others get on your side. Mm-hmm. And it seems like they all have Yelena quartered, and she's like, actually, let me drop the microphone now. Yeah, save the world. Are there any words more sweeter or more alluring? I did like Yelena's like monologue here that she talks about everybody's sins right up here up front. Let me tell you something about each other, right? And then Armin, you wielded the power you stole from Bertolt. And Armin's like, just leave me alone. Yes. And then Falco and Gabby. And then Jean's just like, whatever. He's like, air all of our grudges. But then Yelena's like, no, the real mic drop moment is when Yelena's like, oh yeah, Marco, we're going to talk about his death. Can we talk about that? Can I bring that up now? Can we talk about Marco? And Reiner and Annie are like, no! Ooh, this part. Yep. And Reiner says Annie was following my orders. Reiner, of course, because he's self-sacrificial, like Aaron, takes the brunt of the blame. Yep, and he just says it like so straightforward and clinical. Yep. And John, did Marco say anything to you at the very end? And God, Marco is the reason this all works out. Marco is the reason this all works out. Him saying, we haven't had a chance to talk this over. We haven't been trying to talk this over. That's why we've been fighting each other to the death. If we'd just talked to each other from the start, we wouldn't have ended up killing each other. Welcome to the message of the whole story. It took how many chapters? How many hundreds of chapters? And how much death for us to reach this point that if we had just talked it out from the start, sitting around a fire like this, that we could have avoided Marco and them dying? It's like Isayama is giving you the whole message of the story right off the bat. Wow. Before we even go confront Eren. Yep, this is the message. If you just did that, it's not hard. They're doing it. And then Hanji says it's still not too late. We're talking now. We're not fighting. Who could have imagined it? Yeah, who could have imagined from the start of the story we'd be here? And of course, that's when Reiner's just lets all of his guilt out. He wants to be judged, and he lets all of his guilt out and keeps talking bad about himself. And then that's when Jean's like, just beats him up. Because he's like, and it's like in that moment, Reiner is asking to be judged, and he's asking to atone for his sins, and Jean just lets him have it. And it's somewhat of Jean projecting his own insecurities in that moment too. Like they both just let it out. I love in that moment that Gabby just has the bowl like this. Yeah. But then Gabby like gets in between him. And Gabby says, we wanted the world to accept us and to forgive us. And that's why it was always our hope for you all to go away. And now my mom and my dad and everyone in Liberia was going to be taken away because of it. I'm sorry. And then she asks for their help. And I'm like Falco and her both sitting there. I'm like, for Gabby to come this far as a character, for her to start out with such a view against everyone on parody, and for what she's experienced to lead her to this point of saying, of talking to them and saying, hey, this is why we did what we did. We're sorry, but now we're in the same boat. You all have to help us. And Magath. And I feel like this is the exact moment that Magath changes his mind and realizes, like, the point that they're in, because Magath loves them. Levi, will you shut up? I love Levi just sits up and has that one-liner because that's his job at this point. Jean and the idea of shutting it out, the idea of closing his ears and trying to close off his thoughts about what he's hearing and what he's experiencing. And we see like his idea of just closing off everything represented in that moment. We've seen it so much throughout this manga and this anime. And this is like the last time he does it, where he's like, no, where he realizes, how horrible the situation is, but what has to be done. And then he's like, it's time to go. Of course I am. Of course I'm helping you. And then Reiner, how long are you going to sleep? And he says, I'm sorry for kicking you. Reiner, you're not getting an apology. Yeah, no. And he's like, I can't forgive you. I know. And then he's like, what about me? And we don't get an answer there, right? I think that part about Jean and Reiner is so fascinating, and it shows it's a big point here, because I think a lot of times people, when they hear about talking about peace between people and saying you're sorry, is, they're like, oh, well, then you're forgiving the other side for all the bad things they've done. And what Jean and Reiner do here, no, that is perfectly acceptable. Part of my degree that I have is doing conflict resolution. And we did a big part of that entire program was looking at people who've committed crimes and the idea of mediating between a perpetrator and the victims and the victim's family. And I think that the example I can think of that ties best with Jean and Reiner is that we watched a session between a man and a woman. And the woman was a mother, and her son had been killed by the man. And they had to sit together in a room with a mediator, which is what I'm licensed to do, with a mediator. And what they had to do was talk it out, kind of like this, and explain, like, the mom was like, why did you kill my son? Like, do you realize what you've done and how that's affected our family and how that's affected me and the pain that that's caused? And the man, he was remorseful for what he did. He's like, it was an incident with a burglary, and the son was caught in the crossfire, and he was like, this is why I was robbing the place. This is where my head was. This is what I did. And he's like, I'm sorry I did that to your son. And he's like, I can't take back anything now. It's done. And by the end of the session, like, they talked for a long time about it, and it's very emotional, right? And by the end of it, the mom was like, I can't forgive you, but I know you're a person. And it was like, oh, it was so very visceral and real and powerful. And that's kind of the point here with Jean and Reiner, in that Jean and Reiner, Reiner's like, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I want to be called out for what I've done. And Jean's like, I get what you've done and I can't forgive you. But at this point, oh my gosh, at this point, that was like a long time ago. I watched that video and it was still very powerful. And he's like, at this point, he's like, I can't forgive you, but I know you're a person. I understand what you did, and it's not going to change anything. But me being mad at you forever is going to do nothing either. So we might as well just move forward. And it's like, and I feel like that moment between them is perfectly emblematic of that, because something we learned through that program is you don't have to forgive people, but part of moving on and getting closure and being able to live your life is accepting that people are humans, and that we don't have to forgive them. We don't have to apologize to them, but nothing good is going to come from sitting there and stewing resentful energy towards them. And that's kind of what's being addressed here. So yeah. And then, Cart comes back. Oh, have they not seen the Cart Titan? Oh, maybe they have. Okay. The Jaegerists have captured that. Look at Flock. Look at Flock up there trying to look as badass as he can. He looks like an action figure. He looks like that. Oh my gosh. And they've laid this trap for us. Flock is like trying to look as buff as possible. I mean, his hair at least looks better there. All right, Traitor. I remember these are the chapters everybody's getting all up in arms about. But here we go. Yep, Flock outplay us. I know, right? Flock outplaying us is a very interesting thing indeed. Even if we had the power of the 9, stopping them would be hard. All right, and getting everybody there. If we falter here, we're hopeless against the Founder. We have to kill them all at once. It's the only way to secure the ship. And then Levi, of course, is just out of commission. Okay. And so they're describing what they need to be, what they are needing to do. And I like that Peak is like, no, we can't let the Asmobito die, Annie. And so it's not that simple. And they're like, they have to try to, like, the whole maintenance on the plane is just, that's just such a crazy thing, right? You'd rather we didn't kill any of them. And he's like, well, then what's the plan? How exactly are we going to buy time for the ship to be serviced and keep the flying boat and all the Asmobito safe without killing enemies who'll be flying at us? Oh my gosh. And then Annie's like, all right, Armin, you're the planner. You caught me. So what's your plan in all of this, right? And Peak's like, that plan doesn't exist. Like, we either... And so that's when Connie kind of breaks down and says, do you know we're here to save people? How did the first step in our plan become murdering our fellow islanders? Why is this happening? And Armin's like, oh my God. And yeah, Connie has every right to be freaking out because he's like, you know, we're here to stop Aaron, but what do you mean we're going to have to kill our own comrades to do this? And then Annie's like, I like that Annie goes back to this being like, none of you had an obligation to do this with us, so we can't make you do this. And then Annie says, if you'd been in our place that day, you probably wouldn't have breached the wall. And then that's when Reiner is like, I'm the same as you. And that Aaron feels like he has to do this because it's the only way to get what he needs, just like them back then, that they're all exactly in the same boat. And Reiner's like, you'll be forced to make a decision whether you want to or not if the Aegris find you, but you don't have to get involved. And then, Connie's like, so you just wanted us to watch you kill each other? Can this really be solved with just the Titans? And Hanji's like, look, we've killed 4 Jaegers already. Humanity doesn't have much time left. We gotta go. There's a massive amount of steam. And that's when all of them realize that they're already arriving on Marley. So the other continents won't be safe for long. So, like, this is already a problem. And then, of course, that's when Magath gets mad at Yelena. Oh my gosh, and breaks her arm. And oh my god, the way Isayama draws Yelena is so freaking good. Like, the expressions he gives her, oh my gosh. I don't want to die until I see what happens. Take me with you and I might just tell you. And then Magath is like, and Magath looking up at Gabby. Like, Magath looking up at Gabby and wanting her to live. Oh my god, his expressions. Oh, like him looking up at Gabby and being like, I remember some people complained about Magath in the anime of saying that he like turned coat really quick. And I'm like, no, if you've read the manga, if you've watched this show and watched Magath over time, I think the manga makes it much more explicit that Magath cares about those kids. And he has been trying to protect Gabby and Falco. And he's like, if we don't do this, if I don't sacrifice myself, I don't give it my all, then Gabby and Falco don't have a chance. And just his expression there. Oh, he's like, this isn't your responsibility. It's wrong to place the sins of the past on your shoulders just because of your race. He's like, and there's no reason for you to be burdened with this world's hatred either. And he's like, this foolish blood-stained history, we do have a responsibility to pass it on to future generations. Eren Yeager wants to erase everything, and that's unforgivable. As long as we continue to avert our eyes from our own foolish acts, this hell will never end. So Magath is saying that Eren just wants to erase history, but unless you learn from history, it's doomed to repeat itself. It's essentially, what's funny is that Eren, in some regards, is sort of doing the exact same that King Fritz did. King Fritz isolated everyone within the walls, erased their memories of everything outside of it, and then tried to create this false sense of peace. And that's essentially what Eren is doing, except instead of erasing the memories of everything outside the wall, he's just erasing everything outside the wall. But he's still trying to create this false sense of paradise, and that's not possible, right? So it's like, it's still a cage. It's like, it's just, except now there's nothing outside the bird cage for you to enjoy. You're just trapped within the cage forever. So it's like, yeah. And that's why Armin's like, no, I'm not going to stand by with clean hands. Armin's like, I am not just going to stand here and let other people dirty their hands for my sake. Nope. So yeah, and then, God, Flock in this chapter, look at him. Look at him with his like hands on her shoulders. How creepy. Ugh. And them just killing them all. Oh my God. Flock is so dangerous. If you don't want to lose any more of your men. Ooh, I love that she's not intimidated by him. She's just like, really? And Flock is just... I mean, Flock is very dangerous in this situation, but still, it's the fact that it's Flock. And then, yeah. And then he's like, what? Connie? Armin? What? What are you all doing here? Where have you been? I like that Armin's like, it's so funny. Armin's lying face, he gets so over dramatic. It's actually kind of funny because people know Armin. People that have not watched the series probably think that Armin's very cowardly, but he's not. That's him faking it. So it's honestly hilarious. And he's like, are you following, Flock? Are you following? Oh my gosh. And Daz and Samuel. Oh man. So sad. This chapter's gonna hurt. We disconnected the detonator. Oh no. Oh no. And then, man, the Asmobito woman getting it, girl, getting it. Oh, damn. As if I die without a fight. Oh my God, girl. Oh man. Do I feel somewhat justified seeing Flock like this? Maybe. Oh my God. And there's Mikasa. Uh-huh. Oh God. Oh, she just knocked teeth out of that guy's mouth. Holy shit. And she poked the gun in his face. Oh. Okay. Well, crap. And then Flock flying out. Oh, shit. Because, yeah, they wanted to just do this without anything bad happening. And nope. It's like the one thing you can't plan for just threw everything off. Oh, my God. We can't stop until the Jaegerists have been exterminated. Oh my God, girl. And I know a lot of people were getting on to Mikasa saying that she was just violently killing people without cause, but are you going to talk it out with them like you did with the others? That's the problem. The problem with this whole scenario is that both sides have to be willing to come to the table. And if both sides are not willing to come to the table, then it's not going to work. And that's kind of the problem that we're at now, is that both sides are not willing to come. The Jaegers are not going to come to the table at all. So what can we do? Yep. Come with us if you want to live. Oh my God. And then them. Oh my God, yeah, and they just, oh my gosh. I feel like the anime made it really awful, too. Blow the boat up. Oh my God. Oh. Yep. We got enough land we could eat meat together. Oh, damn, that's, and for Connie's been the one advocating for them not to hurt anybody. Damn it. And it's like, can't you talk it out? Yep. And then I like that Flock's like, wait, why did they go to the basement? Why are they in the basement where they're trapped? What could that possibly mean? And then there's Annie and Reiner. And that gave Connie time to tackle him, right? Why does this always happen? And Yelena's like, can you separate humanity from violence? You can, it's just really freaking hard, right? It's just really hard. And it's complicated. Yep. And then with that, oh my God, with Armin. And Daz holding the gun at Armin's face. Oh my God. He's like, aren't we all on the same side? And he's like, we are on the same side. And that's why he said, stop it. And Connie, damn it. Oh, it's really sad. That's really, really hard. Retrospective. Oh my God, and Armin reached for him. God, Connie's face. Isiama, why are you doing this? Oh. It's like, there's not any sense of joy in this part of the chapter, because it's like, no, everything they're doing, it's like, Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, there's just like, it's just like, Aaron, what did you think was gonna happen, right? Like, just, it makes you feel so awful for everything, right? Like, there's no, like, sense of triumph in these chapters. It's just like, no, we've got to do this to get to Aaron, and it sucks, right? So, and then they're like, wait, it takes half a day to fix the plane. What? The rumbling is faster than a galloping horse. Yeah, about 600 kilometers. It'll take 4 days to trample the entire continent. Oh. Yep. It's too late for Liberio. And that's when Jean's like, yeah, all those people there. Mm-hmm. Even if we got the ship flying, we don't know where Aaron is. And then holding out half a day is impossible. And Asmobito's like, okay, wait, there's a hangar owned by the Asmobito south of the coastal area in Oda. We could service the boat there. Yeah, we could haul the flying boat and go from there. Yeah. It's far enough away we should get there before the rumbling. It's a gamble, but it's the only choice that they have. Yeah. Okay. And then the two of them. Okay, I like that. I like Annie. I like Mikasa showing up on Annie's face and being like, okay, change of plans. Here's what we're doing. Yeah. And so now they gotta go. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But yeah, Flock being like, we'll kill the mechanics. It's like, we need the mechanics to fix the boat. Oh my god. Ugh. And then Reiner, like, putting out his arm to save them. Oh. And Magath. Oh my god. And then, yeah, Annie and Reiner trying to save them out of the way. Oh my god. And of course, Reiner takes the brunt from... Reiner's taking the brunt from the Thunder Spears, like, this entire series, right? At this point. They're taking off from the continent. If Aaron dies, Parody sinks into a sea of blood. And then, yeah, and Flock, it just fuels that idea that they have no other choice but to destroy everything so that they can live. And then Falco, I need to fight too. I like that Peak's like, no, your first transformation into a Titan is not going to go well. You should probably not do that. And Falco's like, but I'm gonna do it anyway! I'm gonna do it anyway, y'all! And the jaw, yeah. I like that poor Armin can't speak. He's been taken away the power to speak, which is kind of funny because Aaron in Titan form couldn't speak anyway because of the jaw thing. And then Falco. Yep. The train carrying our reinforcements. Oh, and it's Shadis. Yep. Oh my god. And then Connie. Connie's like, I have, yeah. And it's so funny because now Reiner and Annie saved Connie back in season 2 and season 1, and now Connie gets to return the favor. Oh. Hesitate and your comrades die. Oh, and Peak. It's like, none of this is a great scenario. None of this is ideal. No one wants any of this. Nope. And then Flock, of course, is like, defend our country and this island to the death. And then Falco. Oh my gosh. And Magath's like, go on, Gabby. And them trying to, like Anya and Kapana, them trying to get the ship working. Oh my gosh, there he be! There be Falco with the jaw, like the little bird jaw. Oh my god, and the bird claws. Oh my god. Like, he's not quite the Beast Titan, but... Oh my gosh, and Flock saying, damn it. Oh. I'll be the one to save Eldia. Good shot, Gabby. And that's Flock. And she got him with the Thunder Spear. And she's like, nope. Oh. And Mikasa's like, nah. I could see why, if you were a big fan of Aaron and a big fan of Flock, why you may not like Gabby. But I'm like, at this point, none of this is a great scenario, right? And they're like, hurry up. And then, oh no. And Peek's like, oh no, Falco with his little bird beak. His little bird beak. Oh no. And then, yeah, he's like, hold him down and we'll get him out of there. Because, yeah, he wasn't in control. And they're like, hurry up and get on. I like Magath saving Gabby and Falco. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and everyone there. Magath with Falco, and I love Jean and Connie carrying Reiner, and Mikasa carrying Annie. And he's like, I'm going to bring up the rear. And the moment he says that, Reiner and Peek turn around like, you're not coming with us. Oh. Where's Commander Magath? Didn't he tell you? He's a general. And the way Gabby looks so hopeful, like, where is he now? He went down with the ship. Ah! Oh my god. Oh, speaking of ships! You're the one who stopped the Jaeger's reinforcements. Why didn't you get on the ship? It's a captured Marlene cruiser. With its speed, they'll catch up to the transport and my allies, where my allies are, and sink it in no time. I can't leave it. Then why don't we work together? Why don't you work together? Oh. And so they all go after the ship, and then I'm just here to set the ammo on fire. This is your chance to jump into the sea. No, I've been looking for a time to die. I saw my students heading south from the fort in Shiganshina. Annie was with them. It moved me how they'd grown. Oh. One day they'll call you a hero who saved the world. That makes two of us. Yep. I ignored the voice of my conscience and turned children into good little soldiers. I ordered them to breach those walls. But I finally realized if those kids could have lived normal lives, how happy that would have made me. I love this moment because it's like, it's Magath and Shadis. It's the get the kids out of the forest. Magath realizing if I'd kept the kids out of the forest, what could their lives have been like? Perhaps you don't. I like this one guy's trying to interrupt their beautiful, heartfelt, shippable moment. Get out of here. Perhaps you don't, but I have respect for you, and I bet those kids do too. Thanks. What's your name? Keith Chattis and Theo Magath. Ah. And the thing about it is, they know Magath stayed behind and blew up the ship. And that's why Peek and them are all crying. But they don't know Keith was there. Keith was a bystander to the end. Oh, my heart. The anime made this like the most shippable thing. And I was like, oh, Theo and Keith, let's do this. Keith found himself that respect and love right at the end. Ah! I'm here for it. Here for it, world. Give me all this. I haven't been able to look at any fan fiction, but God, I imagine there are Keith and Theo fanfics, and I want to read them when I'm done with this series. Give me my shameless smut. Let's do this. Old man Yowie, let's go. The dawn of humanity. Yep. And then Annie. There was no way to save Liberio. Oh, God, their faces. Isayama, just give us that horror. and Peek and Gabby. Yep. Then I don't have any reason to keep fighting. I'm getting off. Even if the rumbling stopped, we wouldn't be able to stop Liberio and Marley from being annihilated. Even McGath understood that. But he still put his life on the line to clear a path for us. If he didn't do it for the sake of Liberio or Marley. He did it so we could save one more life of a stranger whose name he'll never know. I love how Gabby's eyes, they were so like dead and soulless, but the moment she realizes what McGath did for them and the fact that it's just the idea of saving someone, like her eyes get that light in it. Oh, that's so good. And then Annie says, could you kill Aaron? If I tried to kill Aaron, would you sit back and watch? I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want for us to try and kill each other again. Not with any of you, and not even with Aaron. And at this moment, Annie's like, I don't feel like they're going to try to kill Aaron at this point. I don't feel like they're going to try to do that unless it's absolutely necessary. But I feel like at this point, Annie's like, look, you guys want to talk to Aaron? Let's do this. Because at this point, the people I love that I cared about are dead anyway. What difference does it make now? So if we can just stop Aaron, that'd be great. I wonder where it all started. Yeah. Back there. The very first chapter. No. The pigs with Ymir. It doesn't matter where. Ooh, is that person there? Is that Grisha, I'm guessing? Even if all this was set in stone from the start. Even if all of this was what I wanted. Everything is still ahead. Yeah, so are we looking at Aaron now? In Aaron's view? Everything is still ahead, even if all of this was what I wanted. Oh, okay. And we're getting this. I'm guessing this is in Aaron's mind. The way to save both the world and Eldia is the euthanization plan. And so Aaron was told, yep, Zeke believes in you. And then Aaron said, I'll follow Zeke's plan in appearance only. What will pretending to follow Zeke achieve? And then Aaron told Historia, the military police brigade is moving forward with a plan to turn you into a Titan and feed Zeke to you. Now that he's here on the island. We have to fight the MPs or run away. I haven't just been tending to cattle all this time. There's no need to fight or run. Whatever the most reliable way to make sure this island lives on, I'll go with it. Maybe there is no other way. There was no other way, but you stood up for me back then, and everyone helped, and that's enough. And Aaron's like, maybe for you, but not for me. I want to bring ruin to the world and destroy every last one on this earth. Oh, man, yeah. Aaron just being blunt with Flock, being like, I'm going to kill everyone on the world. And him telling Historia that, too. And Historia tries to tell him, he's like, not everybody outside the island is our enemy. Most of them would be killed without understanding why. And Aaron says he knows, but he's like, to bury the history and the civilization that created it deep in the ground. But I'm like, but no, we've talked about this, Aaron. They want you to birth a child that they can sacrifice for the island, and they want to keep forcing children to eat their parents, and I'm not going to let them. And Historia's like, but if I don't do everything I can to stop you, I won't be able to live with myself. And then Aaron says, I can alter your memories with the founding Titan's powers, and if you can just stay quiet until then. And then I'm like, I hate that. I don't like that at all. I don't like the idea of Aaron saying, oh, well, I'll alter your memories to where you'll forget about all this. I'm like, that's exactly the whole thing with Fritz. that's doing something that you hate, that would take away their freedom of knowing and make them ignorant, which you supposedly hate. Why would you do that? You're the worst girl in the world. So you're going to let me do what I want. Hate it. A disease unique. I haven't heard that from Titan research. Yeah, I like Zeke's like, well, you know, Ackerman's awakening their power when their survival instincts are triggered. But to protect a host, there's no such thing. And Zeke's like, do you want to know the true reason that this Ackerman girl shows you so much kindness and affection? There's no true reason or compelled instinct. She just likes you so much, she'd snap a Titan's neck for you. Zeke told him the truth. Zeke's like, she likes you. Yeah. How will you respond? What are you saying? I've got 4 years to live at most. What would you think about me having a child? And then Aaron, like, yeah, cutting his leg off. Their lives will continue even after I die. And I want them to live long and happy lives. But I'm like, Aaron, I think they would have been happier being with you till the end rather than you destroying the world and making them feel like, I'm like, did you not see Reiner and his survivor's guilt? Did that not hit you? Did that not affect you in any way? Did you not get that? I mean, it's so frustrating because, again, you see why Aaron is doing what he wants to do, but at the same time, and you feel for Aaron a little bit in that you're like, you understand why Aaron's doing what he wants to do, but he's so narrow-minded. And it's like, Aaron, do you not see the survivor's guilt you're leaving your friends with? Are you not seeing like the horror of what they're going to have to do to catch up to you because you know they're going to do that? If Aaron erases their memories of him and everything that's happened, I will be honest, I will be very upset with this story if Aaron alters their memories at the end to conveniently make everything he's done work out. I will be a very upset person. So I'm hoping that's not what happens. I'm hoping that's not the case, or I'll be like, Attack on Titan, what we do. Because memory altering is like such a plot convenience and it's such a throwaway. It's like when the author doesn't want to have their main character suffer consequences. They're like, oh, we'll just erase everybody's memory of it. And the protagonist was right in the end. I hate that. If that's what ends up happening, I'm going to freak out. Yep, and then there's the ships. Yeah, the birds, the wings of freedom, you know? The wings of freedom. But it's like the wings of freedom flying against everything. Like, oh my God. Yep. The rumbling. And then, nope. Didn't do a dang thing. Oh, shoot. And they can swim! They can swim, damn it! No! And then, yeah, then they get up when the shore gets close. Oh, my God. And it's just like they're mindless. Like, you don't see their eyes like you do with Bertold or Armin whenever they're in Colossus form. Oof. Yeah, no. Didn't do a damn thing. I mean, you should be able to go from behind and get the napes, but oh my God. Ah! That's it. That's him. Yeah, you can't miss him. It's like the opposite of a rainbow. Ah! Shit. The Attack Titan. And the Founder. And the Warhammer. All together. Oh my God. And yeah, seeing Dinah eating his mom and seeing it from that angle, I'm gonna destroy them. And the moral of the story, kids, is that if you just don't have war happen, you might not create genocidal maniacs. Please stop. Every last one of those animals that's on this earth. So this, oh my God, like this Peek as a reporter is so great. I love that. This is a message for Aaron Yeager. Throw away your weapons and surrender at once. They're surrounded. What weapons? None of us have anything like that. We're being falsely accused. The damn Wallace are getting the police to do their dirty work in order to shackle Aaron. Our dark order will never bow to such pranks. And Aaron's just sitting there. College! Rescinded! Rex! Go team! Calm down, everyone, when they say weapons. What they mean is these guns! Oh my God! Reiner's having an Anchorman moment. Saving me has caused this to happen to everyone. Oh! Is this like a meta thing? Oh my God. Oh my God. It's all because I wanted to destroy the world. Criminal record, just like those dumb celebs. Let's go! Historia just puked. Shut up and get some poop already, Greta Gorilla. It's all my fault. Oh. Oh. Ah! And she's offering him the ladle with the water. The one and only God Ymir has bestowed upon me her message. Humanity will be saved. What? What? Okay. I like that Isayama is basically showing that Aaron's like, oh shit, because I wanted to destroy the world, all my friends are suffering now. I hope Aaron comes to this realization as he's in. Do I look at the preview for Volume 33? Do I do it? It's just one page. That tells me nothing. For your friends, for your dreams, trample the outside world no matter what may be underfoot. Oof. 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 Oh my God. Oh my God. So, yeah. So that was the volume. That was the volume, folks. Volume 32. I'm really excited to dive into the anime next week. It's supposed to be an hour long. Can't imagine what that'll be like. Yes. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited. Don't get me wrong. I'm really excited. It's just at this point, yeah, Aaron is the villain of the story. Our protagonist has become the villain. And that's the thing. I teach English, and my students are always, I put a question on, when we talk about short stories in the short story unit of my class, I'm like, what is the protagonist and antagonist? And a lot of times people think the protagonist is the hero. Protagonist is just the main character. Protagonist can be the villain, it can be the hero, it can be an anti-hero, it can be nobody, it can be a tree. The protagonist is just the main character. So I do appreciate in Attack on Titan that we've looked at Aaron as a protagonist, and he's gone from this child seeking vengeance to realizing that he's been the villain all along, and his motivations have been, for what we would assume to be, you think of his motivations as noble, like he wants to protect his friends and his homeland, but then you're like, at the cost of destroying the world, that seems to be a problem. And ecology shows us that that's going to do more harm than good in the end. But, so, and now his friends have come to the conclusion at this point, they just want to find Aaron and stop him. But killing him's not on the table at the moment, so what will happen? Who knows? But I'm really excited to see what's going to go down. I'm not going to lie. Super hyped. We'll see what happens soon. But I'm really excited to hear your comments down below. I hope you all enjoyed this reaction and discussion. Next week is going to be Season 4, Part 3, Act 1. And the following week is the end. I'm not ready. I'm not. It's been a year and a half since I've watched the anime. I'm not ready. No, of course not. But it's like the rumbling. There's no stopping it now. So, in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. And yeah, I'll be back very soon with more Attack on Titan. Rumbling, rumbling. It's coming. Bye.